Hit this for my dog, get it, stay, get back, get back.
Fame, music, and a deadly feud. A rising rap star gunned down in broad daylight, right on a busy highway. Who wanted him dead? And why did it take years to uncover the truth? Today, we dive deep into the murder of Mo3 and the shocking twists that followed. Mo3 was one of Dallas' most promising rap artists, but his life was tragically cut short in November 2020. He was chased and shot on a highway in what seemed like a planned hit. But what really happened? Who was behind it? And how did this case take a wild turn in 2025? Stick around as we break it all down, step by step. Let's start with Mo3's early life. Melvin Noble Jr., better known as Mo3, was born on May 31, 1992, in Dallas, Texas. He didn't grow up in a big house or have a lot of money. In fact, his childhood was tough. His mom was a single parent, struggling to make ends meet. Some nights, they didn't even have enough food to eat. But Mo3 never let that stop him. As a kid, he found comfort in music. He would listen to artists like Boosie Badass and Tupac, who rapped about struggle and survival. Their words spoke to him because he was living that life too. He started writing his own songs, turning his pain into lyrics. It became his way of escaping the hardships around him. School wasn't easy for Mo3. He wasn't the best student, and he often got into trouble. But deep down, he knew he wanted more for himself. To survive, he started hustling, doing whatever he could to make money. He had to grow up fast because life on the streets was dangerous. He saw friends go to jail, and some never made it out alive. But Mo3 had a gift, his voice. He didn't just rap, he felt every word. When he started putting his music online, people noticed. His songs weren't just catchy, they told real stories about pain, struggle, and survival. People who grew up like him connected with his music because he was telling their story too. Mo3's big moment came in 2014 when he dropped his mixtape, Shotaz. The song, Hold Ya Tongue, became a local hit in Dallas. People couldn't get enough of his raw, emotional lyrics. He wasn't just rapping about flashy cars and money, he was rapping about real life. But it was his 2016 song, Gangsta Love, that took things to the next level. That same year, he released Shotaz 3.0, which included his biggest song yet, Everybody. The song blew up, getting millions of views on YouTube. Even Boosie Badass, one of his childhood idols, took notice. Boosie liked Mo3's style and decided to collaborate with him. For Mo3, this was a dream come true. By 2018, Mo3 was more than just a local artist, he was a rising star in the rap game. His song, Everybody, remix, featuring Boosie became a huge hit, putting him on the map nationally. His storytelling, raw emotions, and unique voice made him stand out. But as Mo3's fame grew, so did his problems. He got into beefs with other rappers, including Yella Beezy, another well-known Dallas artist. Their feud played out on social media, in diss tracks, and even in real life. Some say the tension between them was just part of the rap game. Others believe it was something much deeper. Despite the drama, Mo3 kept grinding. He dropped Osama in 2019 and Badass Mo3 in 2020. He was making money, building his name, and proving that he was one of the best storytellers in hip-hop. He had come a long way from struggling to find food as a kid. But just as he was reaching new heights, tragedy struck. On November 11, 2020, Mo3 was chased down and gunned down on a Dallas highway in broad daylight. His death shocked fans, leaving many wondering, was this the result of street beef, or was there something bigger going on? Now let's dive into the day of the murder. It was the morning of November 11, 2020, just another Wednesday in Dallas, Texas. Mo3 had no idea this would be his last day alive. He woke up, got dressed, and went about his usual routine. But somewhere out there, someone was watching him. Someone was waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Mo3 was driving his black Chevy Camaro on Interstate 35, one of the busiest highways in the city. It was broad daylight, with cars rushing past in every direction. Then, suddenly, he noticed something strange. A car was following him. He knew what that meant. This wasn't a coincidence. Mo3 had been involved in street beefs before. He had enemies. And in his world, when someone follows you like that, it usually means trouble. So he did what anyone would do, he tried to get away. He started weaving through traffic, trying to lose the car behind him. But the driver wouldn't back off. The chase was on. At some point, Mo3 realized he was running out of options. The traffic was too heavy. He couldn't speed up without risking a crash. And then, it happened. His car hit a barrier. It wasn't a big crash, but it was enough to force him to stop. And in that moment, Mo3 made a decision. He got out and ran. He jumped out of his car and started sprinting down the highway. Imagine that, a famous rapper, running for his life in broad daylight, right in the middle of traffic. Drivers watched in shock as Mo3 dodged between cars, trying to escape. But his killer was right behind him. The gunman got out of his car, holding a pistol. He didn't hesitate. Right there, on one of the busiest roads in Texas, he opened fire. Mo3 was shot in the back of the head. He collapsed onto the pavement. People screamed. Drivers hit their brakes. Some even tried to call 911. But by then, it was already too late. The shooter ran back to his car and sped off, disappearing before the police arrived. Paramedics rushed to the scene, but there was nothing they could do. Mo3 was pronounced dead at the hospital. He was only 28 years old. News of his murder spread like wildfire. Fans were devastated. His family was heartbroken. And the big question was, who did this? And why? At first, the police had no answers. But then, as they started digging, the truth slowly began to unravel. This wasn't just a random attack. It was a hit. Someone wanted Mo3 dead. And soon, the world would find out who was behind it. Here we take a look on how police tracked down the suspects. After Mo3's murder, Dallas police knew they had to move fast. A rapper had been gunned down in broad daylight on a busy highway. There were plenty of witnesses, but no one knew who pulled the trigger, or why. But as detectives started digging, small clues began to add up. The first big clue came from surveillance cameras. There were cameras all along Interstate 35, and when police reviewed the footage, they saw everything. They saw Mo3's car being followed. They saw him crash and run. They saw the gunman chasing him down and firing the fatal shot. But there was a problem. The shooter was wearing a ski mask. They couldn't see his face. Still, police weren't giving up. They focused on the getaway car instead. Investigators ran the plates on the vehicle that sped away after the shooting. It led them to a rental car. That was a huge break. When they checked who rented the car, they found a name, Kewon White. Police started watching Kewon's movements, digging into his past, and building a case. Less than a month after the murder, on December 9, 2020, police arrested Kewon White. They charged him with Mo3's murder and unlawful possession of a firearm, because he was already a convicted felon. But here's where things got even more interesting. Police believed Kewon was just the trigger man. Someone hired him to do the job. For a while, nobody knew who paid for the hit. Rumors started swirling. People pointed fingers at Mo3's rap enemies, especially Yella Beezy, who had been beefing with Mo3 for years. But there was no proof, until 2025, when a shocking twist changed everything. Police arrested Yella Beezy and charged him with orchestrating Mo3's murder. They claimed he had paid Kewon White to take Mo3 out. This news shook the rap world. Yella Beezy was a big name in Dallas hip-hop. If he really ordered the hit, that meant Mo3's murder wasn't just a random street beef, it was a planned execution. But even with the arrest, questions remain. Did Yella Beezy really set this up? Was it personal, or was it about rap? And will justice be served? With the legal case still unfolding, the truth may take years to fully come out. But one thing is clear, Mo3's death was no accident. Someone wanted him gone, and now, the fight for justice is just beginning. Now let's talk about Yella Beezy. The rapper accused of ordering the hit. Before the headlines, before the accusations, and before the murder of Mo3, Yella Beezy was just a kid from Dallas trying to make it big. His real name is Marquise DeAndre Conway, and like Mo3, he came from humble beginnings. Born on October 21, 1991, he grew up in Oak Cliff, a rough neighborhood in Dallas. Life wasn't easy. His father was murdered when he was just 12 years old, and from that point on, he had to learn how to survive on his own. Beezy found his way out of the streets through music. He started rapping as a teenager, dropping mixtapes and grinding to get his name out there. In 2017, he released a song called "That's On Me." At first, it was just a local hit. But then it blew up, big time. The song got millions of streams, caught the attention of big labels, and put Beezy on the map. Suddenly, he wasn't just a Dallas rapper, he was a rising star in the industry. With the success of "That's On Me," he landed a deal with Hitco Entertainment, a label founded by industry giant L.A. Reid. He toured with stars like Beyoncé and Jay-Z, and his music was getting radio play all over the country. It seemed like Yella Beezy had finally made it. But behind the fame, trouble was brewing. In the Dallas rap scene, Mo3 and Yella Beezy were always compared to each other. Both were street rappers, both had massive local followings, and both were hungry for success. But instead of working together, they became rivals. Nobody knows exactly how the beef started, but some say it goes all the way back to their early days. There were rumors of street issues, diss tracks, and behind-the-scenes drama. Then, things got really serious. In 2019, Yella Beezy's car was sprayed with bullets on a Dallas highway. He was shot multiple times but survived. Some believed it was payback for an earlier attack on Mo3. The streets were talking. The tension between them was getting worse. Then, in 2020, Mo3 was murdered in broad daylight. For years, the police had no solid proof that Beezy was involved. But in March 2025, everything changed. Yella Beezy was arrested and charged with orchestrating Mo3's murder. Police claimed he hired Kewon White to do the job, making it a paid hit. This news shocked the music world. Some fans refused to believe it. Others said they saw it coming. But Beezy denied everything. He claimed he had nothing to do with Mo3's death, and that the police were trying to pin a crime on him without real evidence. His lawyers said the case was built on hearsay and street rumors. Right now, Yella Beezy is fighting for his freedom. If convicted, he could spend the rest of his life in prison. If he's innocent, his career may never recover from the damage of being accused. And for Mo3's family, the trial is their only hope for justice. One thing is clear, this case isn't over yet. The truth, whatever it may be, is still waiting to come out. After Mo3 was murdered, the streets were talking. People knew this wasn't a random attack, it was a hit. But who pulled the trigger? And who gave the order? The first big break in the case came 1 month after the murder, when police arrested Kewon White. At first, most people had never heard of him. He wasn't a rapper. He wasn't famous. But in the world of crime, he had a reputation. Kewon White wasn't just some random guy off the street. He was already known to law enforcement for gun charges, robbery, and other crimes. He was a convicted felon, meaning he wasn't even allowed to have a gun. But that didn't stop him. When police arrested him on December 9, 2020, they charged him with two things. 1. Unlawful possession of a firearm, because he was a felon with a gun. 2. The murder of Mo3. That second charge changed everything. It meant police believed Kewon White was the man who pulled the trigger. The investigation moved fast, and police had key evidence linking White to the crime. Surveillance footage, cameras on Interstate 35 captured the entire chase and shooting. The shooter wore a ski mask, but police were able to track the getaway car. The getaway car, investigators traced the car back to a rental company. When they checked who rented it, one name came up, Kewon White. Phone records and witnesses, detectives dug deeper, looking at phone records and interviewing people close to the case. What they found led straight to White. Everything was pointing to one conclusion: White didn't just kill Mo3, he was hired to do it. For a long time, nobody knew who hired Kewon White. Some believed it was part of a long-running street beef. Others thought it was deeper than that. But White has never spoken. He hasn't confessed, and he hasn't admitted to working for anyone. Right now, White is behind bars, waiting for trial. If convicted, he could spend the rest of his life in prison. But some people believe he won't go down alone. Will he take the fall and stay silent? Or will he flip and expose everyone involved? One thing is certain, this case is far from over. The legal process is ongoing, with both the prosecution and defense preparing for what is expected to be a high-profile trial. The case has garnered significant media attention due to the prominence of the individuals involved and the violent nature of the crime. The arrest and indictment of Yella Beezy have elicited varied reactions within the music industry and the Dallas community. Fans and fellow artists express shock and sadness over the developments, reflecting on the loss of Mo3 and the potential downfall of another prominent artist. Mo3's mother, Nicole Williams Noble, expressed her desire for justice in a social media post following Conway's arrest. The case has also sparked discussions about violence within the hip-hop community and the impact of personal feuds spilling over into real-life tragedies. Many hope that the legal proceedings will bring closure to Mo3's family and serve as a cautionary tale about the consequences of escalating conflicts. As the legal battle unfolds, the public awaits further details and the eventual outcome of the trial. The case serves as a poignant reminder of the fragility of life and the far-reaching consequences of violence. Even though Mo3 is gone, his music hasn't faded. His posthumous album, Shotaz Forever, dropped in 2021 and was a huge success. Songs like Outside, Better Days, featuring OG Bobby Billions kept his name alive, and his music continues to influence a new generation of artists. Mo3 was proof that you didn't need a major label or industry connections to make it big. His grind, talent, and relatable storytelling earned him a loyal fan base. And even in death, his music still speaks for him.